How you doing there, folks? I'm in Johannesburg, and yeah, come to do some things, and I caught a flight here. It's about a 50-minute flight, and next to me, on my left to me, in the seat next to me, was this Nigerian guy. And when I arrived, quite a polite guy myself. I had a few bags and whatever it was, and he went out of his way to help me to put them into the overhead compartments and whatnot. And sweet, so thank you. Yes, sure. I sat next to him, and I saw him. He was texting a message on his phone, and you can see he's not the most able type of guy. Okay, he's probably in his say 40s, I would say, and you can see he's not like managing so well, and his English is a bit broken, and it looked like he was. I mean, I just saw it next to me. I wasn't really interested in what he was saying, but it was something to do with debt collecting or something, or it was just like quite an intense SMS. He was focused on it for a while, and he was intently involved, and they made the announcements, over the intercom or whatever it is, I don't know, in the aeroplane, and the whole usual stuff, etc. Then at a certain time, the plane started moving, and they said, "Okay, everybody, please switch off your mobile devices," and whatever it is. And he never heard the message. He was so ingrained in his cell phone, in this SMS and this text message or WhatsApp or something like that. And the air hostess, it's a guy actually, so I don't know what they're called, but he came past and said, "Look, you got to switch off your phone." So he's like, looks at him, he starts trying to switch off his phone, and he gets a bit fuzzled, and the guy says to him, "Switch off your phone." He says, "I'm trying, give me a second here, And he just looks at him, he says, the air guy, I don't know, what's it called, the steward, I'm not sure. And so he's looking at him, and he's just standing there, and he looks at him, he says, "I'm not a child, you don't have to monitor me," or something like that. And he says, he says to him, "Well, do we have a problem here?" He says, "Yes, we have a problem." He's this Nigerian guy. He's talking in this very heavy accent. He's like, "Yes, we have a problem here. You're disrespecting me, and I don't like it. Now go away." He says to him. He says, "I'm not going to go away until you switch off your phone." He says, "I'm switching." He says, No, you go away now." Like, threatening. Saying to the guy. So the guy goes away, and he calls this other lady, probably somebody else, and he managed by that time to put his cell phone away, but now the problem was that he had his iPad underneath his cell phone, and then he had his tray open. So he started fumbling with his iPad to switch it off, and he wasn't even sure where the button was, and he was already all stressed out, and, it's already the environment of an aeroplane, etc. And so he is a hell of a lot of construction going on everywhere. And so he starts fumbling, and she says, "Sir, we've asked you now a number of times, and you will not switch off your devices." And he's like, I can't remember exactly what he was saying. And she says, "Are you refusing to listen to us?" And he was like, just flustered and whatever it was. She says, "If you don't listen to us, we're going to have to, and we're already on the runway, about to take off, literally." He says, "We're going to take you back. We're going to have to go back to embark," or whatever it is. I don't know, go back to. And he says, "Fine, take us back." Like, he wasn't meaning it, obviously, but he was just so irritated. And they were really pissing him off, and they weren't giving him a moment, okay? And then, lo and behold, we're on the runway, we're about to take off, and the next thing, we have a loudspeaker, whatever it is, the pilot comes on, saying, "Sorry, that we have an unruly passenger." And this guy's sitting right next to me, okay? "We have an unruly passenger, we're taking him, we're going back to the airport." So now people are like shouting and be like, "No, I'm going to miss my connecting flight, and what's wrong with this guy?" And they all start shouting at him, and I'm thinking to myself, any minute this guy is going to stand up and let hell, and unleash hell, basically. It was so intense. Anyway, so the plane starts going back, and finally we're sitting there. And over the loudspeaker, the pilot says, "Please, the passenger who's caused all this, whatever it is, I don't know, please leave the aeroplane." And he just sits there, with his arms folded. And everybody else is like, "Come on, get off." And the guy in front of him actually starts, saying, "What's wrong with you, man? You should have just listened to them and just get up, or just apologize, or just..." and something or other. Then they get into a heated debate. Now I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to see fists flying, and I'm in the middle of it. And not only that, but we're in the small little confined aeroplane, and I'm really not good with people as it is anyways. Okay. And what was also funny, folks, it's just a sideline, is that I was traveling with a friend of mine, and I was saying to her, like, every time I'm on an aeroplane, I sit next to a person that's got terrible bad breath, and it's like I have to sit through the whole flight just getting wafts of this breath. And I was like, she gave me a mint. I mean, I said, do you have a mint maybe for myself? And I can't even stand mints. I said, maybe I'll offer it to him as a joke. It was like, obviously not. Anyway, so I'll come back to why I mentioned that as well, because now this guy's leaving the plane. My problem's solved, but that's besides the point. Anyway, so they come up to him, and the guy says, look, the air marshal, or not the marshal, whatever it is, the air hostess, and says, you've got to leave. He says, I'll only leave if you refund me my ticket, because, this is unfair. He says, that's not for me to discuss. Please leave the aeroplane. Anyway, and then in commotion with other passengers and whatever, it was almost a whole breakout. He finally gets up, takes his bag, and everybody claps. And now he's not leaving the plane. He's in front. Now they've called the police. He's still in front. He's not getting off the plane until he gets his refund. I mean, this is what I heard. Basically, picked up on pieces and whatever it is. And this other guy, this massive white dude with big beard, looked like a bouncer of some kind. Just a normal passenger, probably went to try and go and diffuse or calm the people down. I mean, it was just getting out of hand. Anyway, so eventually, after about 15-20 minutes, they called the police, and the police took him off the plane. And for myself, I felt that whole thing could have been avoided. Well, firstly, I felt that the universe was helping me out by removing the guy because he had such bad breath. But I mean, besides what, I felt sorry for the guy. I felt sorry for him because he's just somebody who doesn't understand that he has to play by other people's rules. By having to say yes to the steward, I'm saying the air hostess, and politely or whatever it is, and put his phone away and say, I'm sorry, and not to lose his temper so quickly, to understand his environment, that you're also working with machine-like people. Like, I felt that they could have just let it go. He wasn't an unruly passenger. He was just frustrated. He was just stressed out. And if these air hostesses, or whatever it is, air hosts, if they weren't machine-like, they would have actually picked up on this and been a bit sensitive to this guy's situation. Like, he's just a ruffled up kind of... He wasn't a threat at all. There was nothing... there was no reason to assume that whatsoever. He was just frustrated with the situation, and he had this... punk of an air hostess guy who was obviously much younger than him, and just throwing his weight around, and showing him, like, I'm in charge here, and I don't care if you're a Nigerian and how big you are, I'm gonna. And so it really could have been avoided, and I felt sorry, and I was speaking to my lady friend, and I said, I feel sorry for this guy. He didn't, he didn't deserve to have the humiliation of everybody else on the flight. Also like ridiculing him and telling him he's stupid and come on now, and fine, people were upset and frustrated, but he didn't have to endure that because of the air hostess or air whatever it is that had a problem with this guy, because he just couldn't switch off his cell phone in time, and he wasn't paying attention, so they couldn't read the situation, and they were like, just so. I mean, I should have done this recording when I'm more sort of grounded. It's just been one thing after the other, but you get my point. Is that they were just so machine-like, the air hostess, and they didn't read the situation, and this poor guy, I actually felt sorry for him, and the thing is that he's got it. There was a moment where I felt like sticking up for him or even helping him and saying, like, to them, hold on a minute. He's switching his stuff off. He's putting up the tray. He's a nice guy. He helped me with my luggage. He's a good guy. He's just a little bit under stress here. He can't find the off button. He's got other issues that's going on. I'll sort it out. But as soon as I do that, right, then all of a sudden I'm pulled into the whole chaos of the situation. The next thing they're saying, oh, are you together? And I'm saying, no, he's just a guy who's under stress. Oh, you're also causing a problem now. And the next thing, I'm off the plane. All right, and my lady friend as well. And then what? And now what? Now all of a sudden, they'll take my name down, my ID. Who knows what trouble I'm going to get into. So I couldn't stick up for him, but I felt terribly sorry for the guy, you know. And also why I felt sorry for him, let me see how much time I've got. Also why I felt sorry, I'm just lying down and holding the camera, or sitting down. There's nowhere else to put this camera. Everywhere's upside down here. Anyway, so was because I felt like, you know, he you could see the way that he was typing the message on his phone, you could see he's just trying to keep up with everything. He's trying to keep up with this world that we live in. You know, and he's somebody who just doesn't function well. He's probably a very highly emotional guy, even though he's this big, huge Nigerian guy, and you wouldn't assume so. I mean, he's not that huge, but you could see if he punched you, that's all it took for you to be on the floor, you know. And just trying to manage everything, just trying to manage all the stress of just getting onto the aeroplane, what it involves, all the nitty-gritty, all the bureaucracy, all the other stresses of everybody else in the aeroplane that's going on. Just go you know, and we're just at breaking point, folks. We're all just at breaking point, and it's just taking every bit of energy for just to get by in this world, to not be overstressed, to not be overwhelmed. You know, that's what it's like. And so I felt sorry for the guy because I relate to him very well in how I have a very hard time conducting myself in this world. Okay, and especially in this country for myself, I can't talk about other countries, but I know in this country, and how every country is chaotic, everywhere is chaotic, but this country in particular, third world country, I can't tell you what goes on here. How unbelievably, like, upside down, I mean, everywhere is. But I'm saying even for myself, so like for myself to get onto the aeroplane, to just get my affairs in order, to pay my rent, to do what I need to do, to go to the shopping malls, to do my shopping, to take the responsibility in the matrix world is just to deal with all the advertising, to deal with all the energies, to deal with all the fast-pacedness of it, all the change that's going on. I mean, it's just too much. It's just too much. And I'm a single guy. Well, I'm not married. Okay, let's put it that way. And I don't have kids. I don't have children. I don't have a 9 to 5. And already for myself, the daily stresses of life and overwhelmment of everything is ridiculous. So no wonder everybody else is also on autopilot. I mean, different reasons as well, but we're all on autopilot. And we're all becoming like machines. We are all like machines as it is. I mean, everybody else on the plane didn't have any sensitivity towards it. My lady friend who I was speaking to, she was like, I don't want to talk about it. You're right. I also felt sorry for the guy. And I said, well, maybe. And she was like, after a few minutes, you know, she was just like, enough. And I thought to myself, this is such a rich, deep experience of what happened here. I want to share it, like, you know, get some feedback and talk about my feelings and the experience, what it felt like. She wasn't interested. I felt like, you know, that's it. Doesn't count in a way. Some things just don't count. I'm saying something else here. But like, there's so much going on that it's just on to the next thing, you know. One more point I wanted to say. Yeah, so it's just on to the next. We can't take our time. It's just, I don't know. Anyway, there's so much to be said. But one thing I just wanted to also say was that, like, and I want to do a whole nother talk on this, but there's nobody home to take responsibility. Like on this airline in particular, right? I've had my laptop stolen from me. I've heard other people, you know, from your luggage. Okay, my laptop that was another story. But people's bags, luggage gets broken into all the time. They steal, you know, when you check in your luggage, basically, the airline, the people, the luggage handlers, they just steal things, left, right, and center. And when you phone the airline, they don't care. They say it's not our problem. And in other words, you can't get anyone to take responsibility for this. And what I'm saying in life, there's so much is that people won't take responsibility for most things. There's nobody home to take responsibility, and I want to do a talk on that. I think it's quite important for me to understand that a bit better by doing a talk on it, you know. There's no one home to take responsibility because people don't even know what the hell they're doing, right? Like, I mean, here with this government, do you want the government to take responsibility here? There's nobody you're going to knock on. It's ghosts. It's all ghosts. There's a position of government, let's say for corruption, and the people doing the corruption. But if you had to put them in court, right, firstly they'll just bribe the judge and they'll get off as well. So, but even if you could never pin somebody down, because they don't even feel guilty. There's no conscience. What I'm saying, there's no conscience for what people do. They're doing things so haphazardly. They're doing things completely asleep. They're not doing things on purpose. They're not doing things with integrity. That they don't care. So there's nobody home. It's just a machine that's doing all these things. And so, or like a ghost. And when you come and you try and get the person to take responsibility, like these politicians or whatever it is, or these people like these priests that molest children, it's like, there's no conscience. They're narcissists. I'm exaggerating it, but they're narcissists. Okay, maybe in that case you can get the priest to feel a bit shameful, but some priests will not. They're so victimized. What I'm saying, I'm just giving bad examples here, but people are so victimized that they will never take responsibility. And I don't even know what they're doing in the first place. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know the destruction that they're causing to people, because people don't take life for real. They don't take life seriously. Okay, they don't play as if it counts, as if it matters. Everything's so haphazard. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're stealing people's pensions, if you're ripping the disabled people. Or I'm saying people, like children war children. What's it called? That fight for. You see them in these African countries. These 10-year-old children that have these AK-47s, and they're child soldiers and whatever it is. And you're going to go to the guy in charge who's organizing these child soldiers, and he'll be like, I don't care. I'm saying one of these guys, it's like, I don't care. I don't care. There's no conscience. And what conscience is godliness. I think consciousness is godliness. And there's no divinity within people anymore. Not everybody, but a lot of people. There's no divinity. There's no consciousness in people anymore. Yeah, folks. Bit of a hectic, whatever. But it is what it is. And it's all cool. It's all fine at the end of the day to a certain degree, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Alright, folks. Wanted to just get that off my chest. Thanks for taking the time. Chat soon.